Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review, and still the beginning of the year, kind of trying to decide, if there's anything out there worth listening to this week, or actually in this point worth babbling about. There's a few things that I thought were pretty cool. I haven't listened to everything yet because there was one that was really, really long, and I'll be getting to that one a little bit later. And there's a couple I just didn't think anybody would give two craps about, so I haven't even gotten to them. But this one I saw was coming out quite a while back. It's Gravedigger and their new album called Bone Collector. I have been like a fan of Gravedigger for quite a few years. They've been around since '82, I believe. This is their 21st album, and they have a new guitar player, which is kind of what interested me about this one. It's not like they changed from the original guitar player, because they did that way back in the '80s. There's only one original member in this band at this point, and that is their singer. And his name is Chris Boltondahl, and he's either got this style of voice, you either love it or hate it. It's very gritty, rough, almost gargly sometimes. It works well most of the time for their music. Every now and then, not so much, but the music is mainly riff-oriented, like metal. I don't even consider them power metal or anything like that. They kind of get compared with Accept a lot. I don't know if that's just because they're both German bands, or like, what's the other one they get compared to? Was it Not Running Wild? I can't even think who it is. But anyway, they got that German sound to them. I mean, if that makes any sense, there's just different areas and places that just have a sound, and Germany definitely has their own metal sound when it comes to this style of music, and they have that very, very solidly in their music. However, like I said, they have a new guitar player now. His name is Tobias Kirsting, and he was from the band Orden Ogen, and I've only recently been aware of that band and just checked them out probably in the last couple of years, so a little familiar with it just because I've heard a few things more recently, but it's not like a band I grew up listening to or anything. Can't remember how long they've been around, but I thought so. I'm like, all right, well, they're gonna have a little bit of different sound, because anytime you change a member, it's always interesting to hear what they're gonna sound like. And with being a guitar player, he's one of the main writers of the riffs here on this, so I was kind of curious what they'd sound like. And still has a Gravedigger sound. I was happy to hear that when the album kicked in, it really kicked in. The first couple songs are actually just balls to the walls metal, Bone Collector, and then goes right into The Rich, the Poor, the Dying, and that's just metal. His vocals fit that style really well. It's rough and it's fast. I can see why they get kind of that power metal label sometimes with that style of music, but then it kind of slows down a little bit for the next few. You get like Kingdom of Skulls, The Devil's Serenade, and Killing Is My Pleasure have a little bit more riff-age going on in there, and a little bit more tempo changes and stuff that kind of, changes it up a little bit. Those three songs right there I mentioned, I think, are probably the high point of the album, and from that point on, it kind of takes a little bit of a dive. I don't know how to describe it. I guess they're trying to do a power ballad here, and for me, it just doesn't really work that well with Mirror of Hate. And the only reason it doesn't work as well is because his vocals, it goes to almost like a talking, half-singing kind of thing. Every now and then, when it's actually trying to sing, it's okay, but it kind of gives me like a Manowar type vibe where they're doing narration. I don't know, a lot of the Manowar songs, except not quite as good. I hate to say that, but that's kind of the feeling I get from it. And then you get a few more songs that are back, up tempo and rocking again. Not quite as strong songs as those other three I mentioned. Riders of Doom, Made of Madness, Graveyard Kings, and Forever Evil, Buried Alive. They're okay. I mean, they're good. They're better than a lot of other bands out there, I think, but compared to what you've already heard, a lot of times bands do this. They front load the album, and then I don't know what they think, that people are just going to stop listening, which doesn't make sense to me, because then what's the point? And then it ends with another slower song one. It's actually goes on quite a lot longer than maybe it needed to, called Whispers of the Damned, where he does that singing, talking type thing in it. And that it really ends quite strangely. It just kind of ends. It just, you think it's going to build up a little bit more and build on something. It does this cool little guitar, double bend, and then that's it. I actually, when I was listening to it, I thought something was wrong with my CD player. I checked to make sure it wasn't just something happened, because it just ends. It's just the strangest thing. So weird way to end the album. Overall, I would say more than half of it is good. Didn't care for the slower songs. The first 5 songs, definitely worth it. The riffage going on is different from what they've been doing since their previous guitar player, whose name is slipping my mind right now, but I think he was only with them mid 2000s on. So it's been quite a few years. I mean, probably more than 10 years he's been with the band. The last few albums, like I've gotten everything. The last few, I listened to them, didn't put them back on, listened to them again. So I really, at this point, I can't even remember one song off probably the last 3 or 4 albums. The earlier stuff, I listened to a lot more when I was younger. I have more memories with that. This doesn't sound anything like the early stuff as far as the riffs and the style of the music, other than the fact it sounds like German metal. When you change every single member but the singer over time, things just, you lose a little bit of touch with what you originally started with. They actually tried, it's funny, I remember them changing their name to just Digger, and they tried to go a little bit more mainstream, and I don't think that worked too well for them, if I remember right, because they broke up and then got back together after that. I don't remember the whole history of this band. I shouldn't say they got back together. The singer reformed the band with everybody different. And that's kind of what he's been doing since. It kind of just, the singer took over and reformed, and it's just kind of been doing it since then, changing members, every few years. It's just the way it's been. This album, like I just said, it's half good, half okay, and a couple that are eh. So anyway, I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. There's really not a whole lot more. I was actually struggling for something more to say with this one, quite honestly, but unfortunately I'm not coming up with much. So that's just how it goes sometimes. But as always, I welcome any comments, likes or dislikes about the band, or if you've heard this album, what do you think of it, or if anything you want to correct me on in the history of this band. But that's kind of the quick overview I was kind of given there. But I don't dislike this band. I actually really like them. I think this was probably a good change. I think maybe they needed to take a little bit more time with some of the songs, and it would have been better. I actually don't know how old the singer is at this point, but I guess he's still able to do the singing. It's not like it sounds any different. It sounds a little bit more gruff over time, but his voice sounds a lot the same as what it did when he first started. It's not like he's ever had like a voice that was like anything different, and then he just killed it and wore it out. You can tell that it's aged a little bit, but that's how he's always sang. So no, that's not really what's happened here at all. But and as always, I ask to like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because I really do like this style of music, and I hope that maybe once the guitar player settles in here, Tobias settles in a little bit, we'll hear a little bit more thought going into the newer songs, and maybe we'll have a little higher rating on the next one. But anyway, until the next time, until then, whatever, we will see you.